Today's lesson is called Thinking in Binaries. Is it right or wrong? Hello everyone, my name is Jeff.
My name is Roger, and today we're going to be talking about something called binary thinking. Okay, binary means we have two things. And if you have binary thinking, well, what you are doing is thinking in two ways. Either it's right or it's wrong. It's either black, it's either white. It's either strong, it's either weak. You get the idea.
Binaries. Is it right or wrong? Hey, that's a very clever title. We're already thinking in a binary way, or we're thinking in binaries. Right, wrong, good, bad, plus, minus, 0, 1. The list goes on and on. By the way, binary thinking in a computer is a good thing, okay? Computers, that's the way they do logic and stuff like that. They deal with zeros and ones, ons and offs and stuff like that. But should we as human beings think in binaries? No, that's a bad idea. We are complicated machines, not simple machines like computers. There's a whole lot of gray. So thinking in binaries, I'm thinking that's probably not a good idea. But am I going to say it's right or wrong? No. If I were to do so, if I did say this, I'd be engaging in binary thinking, which again is something I think we should try to avoid. All right, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a short break, but don't go away. When we come back, we'll start reading from our article on binary thinking.
Thinking in binaries. Is it right or wrong? We live in a world that's highly complicated, and our lives are filled with countless possibilities. But when we use language, we tend to frame information in terms of opposites. Was the movie good or bad? You'll either love or hate stinky tofu. Does she look good with long or short hair? This way of thinking is so common that researchers have even come up with a term for it: binary bias. When presented with data, people with binary bias often think in black or white terms, while ignoring all the shades of gray that don't fit into either-or categories.
大家好，第一部分我们看到单字 highly 这个字是副词，指极其、非常，价格、数量、评价很高。例如 It's highly unlikely that Fiona will show up tonight. She never comes to karaoke. Fiona 很可能今晚不会出现，她从来不唱卡拉 OK 的。或是 Ted is one of the most highly respected actors in the business. Ted 是业界最受尊敬的演员之一。另外，补充一个相关片语 speak highly of somebody 表示赞扬某人，对某人评价很高，像是 Peter speaks very highly of his friend Alicia, so I think you should meet her. Peter 很赞赏他的朋友 Alicia, 所以我想你应该见见他。再来，我们看到单字 frame 这个字是动词，指表达、问题、答案等等，表示、制定。例如 Kelvin carefully framed a reply to the customer's complaint. Kelvin 谨慎地对顾客的抱怨做出回应。或是 The politician tried to frame his argument so that he would easily win the debate. 那名政客试图制定他的论点，好轻松赢得辩论。另外，这个字也可以当名词，指骨架、框架。我们可以说 The workers built the frame of the house first, and then they put the roof on. 工人们先建好房子的骨架，然后放上屋顶。或是 I want to buy a new frame for this painting. 我想要为这幅画买新的框。
Okay, everybody, that first paragraph there was quite long, so let's take a look at it sentence by sentence here. So, yes, we live in a world that's highly complicated, and our lives are filled with countless possibilities. Yes, indeed, the modern world is very complicated. We've got lots of things that we need to remember, lots of things we need to deal with. If we're going to school, we got to remember to bring our books, and we got to remember to charge our phone. phone and bring our keys and bring enough money, and we need to be nice to our friends, and we need to avoid bullies, and we need to please our parents, and we need to go on vacation and stuff like that. Oh, life is so complicated. There are so many things that we need to remember. Life is highly complicated, very complicated.
There you go. Highly complicated. Yes, our lives are filled with countless possibilities, not just yeses or nos, goods or bads and stuff like that. But our article continues, but when we use language, we tend to frame information in terms of opposites. So we shouldn't think in binary, but naturally we do see the world in terms of opposites, like good and bad and black and white and stuff like that. How about yin and yang? That would be examples. That would be an example, I should say, of binary thinking. So yes, the world is complicated, but when we speak and kind of analyze the world, we do kind of frame information or organize it in such a way that opposites kind of are what we use to do that organization.
Yep, we kind of structure it, we organize it in this way in terms of opposites. In terms of just means in regard to, and we're doing it basically based on opposites. Say, did you have a good time or did you have a bad time? Well, we had a great time. I could say, for example, that I chose to study art in college, but in terms of finding a good job after graduation, it's pretty bad. You can become an art teacher and maybe try to sell your art, but you're probably not going to make a lot of money. So here, in terms of, when we think about things in opposites, yes, indeed, that's how we frame information. Black, white, tall, short, fat, skinny, etc., etc. Now, yeah, was the movie good or bad? You'll either love or hate stinky tofu. Does she look good with long or short hair? This way of thinking is so common that researchers have even come up with a term for it, and here it is: binary bias. Oh, those are very similar sounding words. We did talk about binary before, having to do with two things, but your bias just kind of refers to how you think about things in terms of your own person, how it affects you personally. We all have a bias when we talk about politics, for example. We all have our personal view on things, and so it's very difficult to become objective.
Yeah, and in our examples, there's all sorts of bias kind of encoded in the language. Not only are we putting things into binaries, but it's kind of implied, okay? Okay, it's a part of our bias to think, yeah, good is better than bad and love is better than hate. Of course, how could you ever argue with those statements? So yes, you go ahead and you encode things in this way. You put things in terms of binary thinking, and all complication is lost. Is good better than bad? Of course not. Is hate better than love? Of course not. But when you start structuring the world in binaries, okay, like I said before, you get rid of the complications that are everywhere in daily life, and you might end up with some ideas about the world, or you might have to agree with certain statements about the world that you just don't think fit the world as complicated as it is. So when presented with data, our article continues, people with binary bias often think in black or white terms. They can't escape this, okay? While ignoring all the shades of gray that don't fit into either or categories. So there you go. When you think in binary, sure, it makes things simpler, but you're also kind of removing the complexity that is everyday life. Now, it says here that you ignore all the shades of gray that don't fit into either or categories.
It's either black or it's either white. You could say either as well. It's either tall or it's either short. It's either good or it's either bad. It's either complicated or it's simple. So that's what that phrase there, either or. And yes, in black and white terms. It's either this or it's that, and it can't be in between. Yeah, who's got time in life to think about all these little shades of gray? We just don't have that kind of time. There are only 24 hours in a day. We've got to quickly make a judgment about something, even though we do kind of know there are shades of interpretation, but we say, hey, I'm just not going to talk to that guy. He's not worth my time. Even though he might be intelligent in some ways, still, I just don't have time for him, so I have to conclude that he's a bad apple, and I'm going to ignore him. The world is black and white. Those are different categories.
There you go, categories. You just said a guy was a bad apple. So yes, we're going to categorize or organize the world, and we're going to put this person in one place, in one category, having one heading. So yes, when you kind of divide the world up in that way, the way that you do that, where you put people, those are called categories. It's kind of a division where you've kind of separated the world in some way into different little areas. Each of those areas would be called categories. All right, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a short break, but don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
If binary bias is not a reliable way to mentally process the world, then why do we have it? One reason is that binary thinking allows us to break information down into manageable pieces so that we can act and make decisions efficiently. Should I turn left or right after the stop sign? Do you want soup or salad with your meal?
第二部分我们看到片语 break down 表示分解，分成更小的单位。举例来说Frank broke down the tent into several pieces before putting it in its storage bag. Frank 把帐篷拆成好几部分，再放进收纳袋里。或是 Brenda broke down the volunteers into groups by age and gender. Brenda 照年龄和性别把志工分组。另外 break down 还有以下几种意思。第一，表示故障，停止运作。例如 Derek's car keeps breaking down, so he has decided to buy a new one.Derek 的车一直故障，所以他决定买一辆新的。第二，表示分析某事物的细节、原因，像是 The news report broke down the reasons for the failing economy. 这则新闻报道分析了经济衰退的原因。第三，表示某人情绪崩溃，为不及物用法。我们可以说 Tina broke down in tears after she lost her purse. Tina 弄丢了钱包，所以崩溃大哭。
Okay, so here in the second part of our lesson, it says, if binary bias is not a reliable way to mentally process the world, then why do we have it? Yes, we've been talking about binary bias, and we're saying that, yes, it's probably bad. We shouldn't categorize things into extremes. It's either hot or cold, black or white. It's not a reliable way to process the world. We need to realize that things come in shades of gray, but why do we have it? Why do we still do it? Good question.
Yeah, why do we have it? Well, one reason is that binary thinking allows us to break information down into manageable pieces so that we can act and make decisions efficiently. So there you go. Like I said before, if you do organize the world in this way, you'll simplify things. Now, you're also removing the complexity that characterizes the world around us, but you'll be able to make a quick decision. Sure, good is better than bad. Sure, love is better than hate. So there you go. You can go ahead and make a decision efficiently and not have to waste too much time thinking about it. Yes, binary thinking allows us to break information down, i.e., we're able to break it down, boil it down, make it as simple as possible. We can abstract our reasoning, okay, and see the basics there and make a decision accordingly. Again, though, when we do break down information and simplify things, we do kind of make the world simpler than it actually is. Anyways, should I turn left or right after the stop sign? Or do you want soup or salad with your meal? There you go. Those are easy decisions to make. Again, though, not every decision is easy.
To break something down. For example, last month I spent about 30,000 NT dollars on different things. But I want to save money more, so I need to break my expenses down. I spent so much money on transportation. I spent this much money on food. I spent this much money on entertainment. So I'm breaking down my expenses there so that I can understand my expenditures a little better. So yes, we need to break that information down. And that's why we do this. We make decisions based on yes or no, left or right, up and down, etc. It just makes life easier. Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson for today. Here comes our third part.
Another reason is that an either-or classification gives humans a sense of security, even when a situation can have any number of outcomes. For instance, a common notion is that good people go to heaven and evil people go to hell. But is every person really only either good or evil?
最后第三部分，我们看到名词 notion 指观念、看法。例如 When I was a child, my mother and I had different notions about proper table manners. 在我小的时候，我和妈妈对于何谓适当的餐桌礼仪有不同的看法。
Okay, let's go ahead and wrap up today's lesson on binary thinking. Okay, the final paragraph begins by saying, another reason is that an either-or classification gives humans a sense of security even when a situation can have any number of outcomes. So before we were talking about how, yes, people do break things down into manageable pieces, manageable binary statements so that we can make decisions efficiently. Okay, it does make our lives easier. So that's one reason for binary thinking. Another is that this gives people a sense of security. Maybe people aren't comfortable with how complicated the world is. So when they classify things in terms of either or, they feel better, okay? They feel like they're doing the right thing, even though doing the right thing is often extremely difficult because, yes, usually situations can't have any number of outcomes.
Indeed, classification means categorizing things. To classify is the verb, but, it just makes life simpler if you can say it's either good or bad. Like, I have a cousin, her name is Dawn, and she likes to swear all the time. She cusses a lot. She says four-letter words. So people think she's a bad person, but actually she's a nice person. She drives her car very well, and she's actually a very talented guitarist, and she could probably give good music lessons, but people have concluded that she's bad just because she swears, just because it makes things easier for people, even though a situation can have lots of different outcomes. Any number of here just means lots of. An outcome means a result. Lots of things could happen in one way or another.
Yeah, it's kind of like a result, something that comes from something else. It's not unlike a consequence, a word that we used not too long ago. Anyways, yes, people like either-or classifications. They like to put things into certain categories in this way because it makes them feel good. Yeah, for instance, a common notion is that good people go to heaven and evil people go to hell. So there you go. If I'm good, I'm going to heaven. If I'm bad, going to hell. There's a binary, but is every person really only either good or evil? So there you go. Good is better than evil, but none of us is perfect. So are any of us totally good, 100% good, or totally 100% evil? No. So do we really know for sure whether we're going to heaven or hell? There's just no way to know, but we think that we're good, so thinking, okay, we're good and we'll go to heaven, well, that makes us feel better.
Yep, that's a common notion. It's a common idea that people have. If you're good, you go to heaven. If you're bad, you're going to go to hell. That exists in some of the religions in the world. They do have this idea. I don't think they have this idea so much in Buddhism. They talk about reincarnation and stuff like that. But in Christianity, for example, where there is a heaven and there is a hell, we need to classify people into easy-to-understand categories. You either go to be with God or you go to be with the devil, but this is a religious discussion, and we're going to steer clear of it for now, but you get the idea. Yes, it's not that simple. People can be good and evil at the same time.
There you go. All right, folks, with that, it's time for us to say goodbye for now, but don't worry, don't fret. The Chinese teacher is on the way.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。今天的课文有用到2次 either A or B 的句型，像在课文第一部分写到 You'll either love or hate stinky tofu， 你要不是喜欢就是讨厌臭豆腐。然后课文最后一句也写到说 But is every person really only either good or evil？ 但每个人真的不是好就是坏吗？好，那么 either 什么什么 or 什么什么，这是一个配对连接词，是用来连接对等的字词或句子。 Either A or B 就表示不是 A 就是 B，A 或 B 两者当中的任何一个。那么 either 也有人会念作 either。我们来造句 ：He is either unwilling or unable to do it。他不是不愿意做，就是没办法做。好，那这边要特别注意哦，如果我们用 either A or B 去连接主词，那么动词必须配合最靠近的主词，也就是要跟主词 be 一致，像是Either you or Jamie has to take out the trash. 你或是 Jamie 其中一个人必须要去倒垃圾。那例句里面动词就是要配合最靠近的主词 Jamie， 所以我们是用第三人称单数动词 has。接着读到课文第三部分第一句，他说Another reason is that an either-or classification gives humans a sense of security, even when a situation can have any number of outcomes. 好，句子里面他用连字号把 either-or 连接在一起。那么 either or 就可以用来当形容词或名词，来表达说只能二选一的，或是非黑即白的。像我们可能会看到 an either or situation 是说只能二选一的情况。好，那么另外来补充 any number of 的用法。Any number of 后面要接复数可数名词，可以表达许多不同的什么，大量的什么。像 pumpkin can be cooked in any number of ways， 就是说南瓜可以用许多不同的方式来料理。那我们顺便补充一下 a number of 跟 the number of 的用法哦。好 ，a number of 后面接复数可数名词，可以用来表达好几个什么，许多的什么。A number of 加复数可数名词，把它当主词的时候，必须视为复数哦。例如 ，A number of students were absent today。今天有好几个学生缺席。那这边句子里面使用复数动词 were。好，再来 the number of 后面接复数可数名词，这可以用来表达某人或某事物的数量。那如果用 the number of 加复数可数名词来当主词的话，必须视为单数哦。例如 the number of students studying abroad has been growing。出国念书的学生人数一直持续增长，我们重点是在 the number， 它是单数主词，所以我们这边看到 the number of students studying abroad， 我们要把它视为第三人称单数主词，后面搭配助动词 has 而不是 have。 好，那么以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Highly. Cynthia is always on time for meetings. It's highly unlikely that she will be late. Complicated. Can you help me with this complicated math problem? I have no idea how to solve it. Frame. You have to be careful how you frame your questions when doing interviews. Category. Books are filed into different categories at the library. Classification. The classification of wine is based on the region where it was produced. Outcome. The final outcome of the election has not been revealed yet. Notion. My parents and I have very different notions about marriage.
Okay, everyone. With that, today's article is now complete. But, as always, we sure hope that you guys have enjoyed reading along with us. Anyways, I'm Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.